Welcome back to the reading of Reclaim Yourself with me, Jessica Nuñez-LaMarre. The three-step rediscovery process for self-criticism. Quote, when parents criticize their children, the children don't stop loving their parents. They stop loving themselves. Unknown. When I first saw these words years ago, they cut me to the core. My stomach tightened and I felt sick. I thought of all the ways I criticized my kids. What were you thinking? Why did you say that? Don't do it that way. Your room is a disaster. A lot has changed since then, and I realized I had to unpack why I criticize. I criticized because I was criticized. It has taken me years to move from being critical to myself to loving myself. The negative self-talk and self-criticism that played on repeat were overwhelming. There was no one harder on me than me. Well, except in the beginning. In the beginning, my parents were hard on me. If I listen to the narratives in my head, they are very similar to the ones my parents used on me or themselves. However, my words were even stronger. Like I needed to outdo their words so that I could finally be good, listen, and receive the love I so longed for. The self-criticism was like a loudspeaker playing over and over in my mind. How could you do that? Why did you say that? How could you be so dumb? What were you thinking? Then I would justify my position. I would justify my comments like I was on trial. Nobody else could see these words. No one. Yet they were so powerful over me. I would never say the words I said to myself to anyone else. I spent way too much time doing this, and I knew it needed to stop. I would make a mistake, grill myself over it, and even talk with my husband, coworkers, or friends about it, trying to justify it to myself or them. It was exhausting. It was that voice of fear, the voice of the protector that feels the need to justify everything I do. When I unpacked the backpack, I found self-hate under the criticism. As I dug deeper, it was my protection mechanism to keep me from punishment. If you had told me before my healing journey, and even a couple years into my healing journey, that there are parts of me that hate me, I would have said no way. However, the book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hayes, showed me the ways I was inflicting self-hate, and criticism was my number one. What I have realized is I let other people's narratives and fears become my own. Their self-talk became mine. Once I realized this and owned it, I could change it. I speak kinder to myself now than I ever have. I love myself more than I ever have. And yes, it is a work in progress. Now, when I make a mistake, I typically laugh. It lightens my mood, and I look at it as a growth opportunity. What's incredible is that the more I focus on the positive voice, the voice that sees the good, the fewer mistakes I make. By shifting from listening to the inner critic to listening to the voice of positivity, the voice of love, I gain so much more time. I wasn't wasting time thinking about my mistakes and the things I said or should have said or didn't say, playing on repeat over and over, and then talking with others about it. That should say I was wasting time. When I made a mistake, I would say, what can I learn from this? Then I would move on. I would love to say it was easy. However, that inner critic can be relentless. The more I understood the inner critic and instead listened to the positive voice, the less I heard the voice of fear. Here is a 3-step rediscovery process to help with self-criticism. Take 3 deep breaths and then begin the rediscovery process. Again, make sure you're in a comfortable and safe space to do this process. Step 1, realize, become aware. Notice when you start to criticize yourself. Just notice what you notice without judgment. If you find yourself criticizing someone else, your kids, partner, family, friends, or coworkers, Notice what part of you is longing to be loved and accepted just as you are. If you are criticizing yourself, start to notice the cycle. When does the criticism start? What action does the criticism follow? What words are used to criticize? Where did I learn these words? Step 2, reconnect, honor, and accept. Breathe as you notice where in your body you feel this need to criticize. Compassionately place your hand on that part of your body and keep it there as you connect with the part of you that feels the need to criticize you. Get curious about it and have compassion for it. What brings forth the criticism? What is the criticism protecting you from? What is the criticism scared may happen if it doesn't criticize you and protect you? What does it need? Maybe she needs to know that she will still be loved even when she makes a mistake. How can you show the one who truly believes that they are protecting you with these words of criticism that they are loved just as they are? What does the part of you that criticizes you need to hear? Step 3, release, listen to what you need, forgive, and bring in unconditional love. Commit to give the part of you what she needs. She has been waiting for possibly decades for you to give her a voice. How does she feel? Is there anyone that needs to be forgiven? Is it possible to appreciate her for trying to protect you, even if it wasn't in the most productive way, yet the only way she knew? Can you compassionately love her for doing what she was taught? Is there any other way she can communicate with you moving forward? Instead of criticizing you, what would she rather do? Can you give her permission to do what she wants to do? Imagine her doing just that within your heart. Close by giving thanks for both you and her.